here we are about to start another doll modification. We have a Monster High doll. I had two of these, but this one was much more articulated than the other one. You could tell the other one was like a newer generation, so she wasn't, she didn't have as much detail, and she wasn't as articulated. As the years went on in Monster High, they kind of just got cheaper and cheaper. I've had this fabric, got it from scraps somewhere, but it's this nice, it's not fully see-through, but I thought this would be beautiful for a dress, kind of an over-the-shoulder long dress. I just have some random twine and things that are very woodsy. She is going to be like a woodland. I thought the brown would be good since I have so much green going into her dress. And her hair, beautiful rovings. I hope you can see how amazing it is. This is just a brown. But you got to pick. I will put the link. I found her on Etsy. And she does felting, or she sells products for felting, but I'm going to use this to make little dreads for her hair, and you can pick 6 colors for $12. So I have some gradations of browns. I think I'm going to use this gray on another doll, but these beautiful greens, sorry, I wish my lightings were better. It's like a light green, medium green, and a dark green, and I'm going to do dreads on her. I haven't tried this before, but I'm getting into felting, and I don't think dreads will be that difficult. You always want to wash your doll beforehand. I'm going to take off her head and cut off her hair, take that all out so we can dread it. I'm going to take all of her accessories, like this is an earring, and she had other things on, and then you're going to wash the doll just like with regular soap and what have you, depending on where you got it from, but it's just always nice to start out with a clean doll. And then I normally use just straight acetone, but it's in my husband's studio and it's locked, so I'm just gonna take off all of her face makeup with regular nail polish remover. It's just it's better and faster with acetone, but I just don't have it right now. I think the dreads are coming along nicely. I put some top ones on to get some placement. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to lift these up and then fill in the bottom and the sides. But I'm going to let this dry because this glue that I'm using is taking a little longer than normal. I'm probably going to have to make more. So you just pull it off, twist it. It wasn't, and then I used the needle, the felting needle a little bit to keep it into place, and then to make sure it really stayed, I went and took a flat iron and ironed it just to make sure 100% it's going to stay. These are tending to be a little long, so I am putting them around the ears or cutting them because I realized I made a lot of these way too long. But that's good because then I can use it filler in the back. So it's just coming along nicely. So we are working on the dreads for our Earth doll. I have a lot done. I'm just trying to get some underneath so it has a lot more texture, so she looks like she has a lot of dreads. So I just want to fill in all underneath. And I'm going to show you just some tips. So these are ones that are done. You see they're twisted and they're all sticking together and they're ready to go on. So when you get the roving, whatever color you'd like, it comes in this. You pull off, a piece, a length, about what you'd like. What I do, just wet the ends of my fingers, and I pull over. See how this is just, I'll pull it over and kind of start rolling with my fingers. It's nice. It helps if it's wet a little bit. And then you see it kind of balls up like that. Then the middle part, all you do is just kind of roll in between your fingers, and you can see it's already starting to mat together and make a little bit of a dread. I just keep going up and down until they get to this level. Then I will twist them, take a hot iron, and iron them. And that keeps them completely, the heat keeps them together. So I know they won't come undone, and then they end up like this. Then I glue them on underneath here. And then I took a needle. I have
my needle that I use for felting, and then as you can see, the doll already had little tiny holes where the original hair was, and what I will randomly do is find a hole or two and kind of just stick it in there. So a little bit comes through so that I know it's mounted, it will not come off, in case like some child pulls it, or it falls off the shelf or something like that. So that is how I make my dreads. I hope that helps you with your dolls and your dreads. Let's get this head done so we can start working on the body and the frame that she's going to sit on. So I have pastels here for shading, just to get little... I have watercolor pencils that you can wet a little bit and get darker or lighter. I kind of have like an eye chart. I just got this off of Pinterest, but you can just find this off of anywhere on the internet. I have my brushes, and I just put a first layer. I got her eyebrows with the watercolor pencil and a little bit of her lips. Very light pink. I might tone that down a little bit with the pastels. And then I took actual acrylics. I have to go in quite a few more times, but that's literally just the base of her eyes. And then I'll go in quite a few more times and add a lot. This looks very basic eyes, but this is just the first layer to get an idea of where this eye I like better. So I'm going to make this smaller, more towards the outside. I don't want her to look googly eyes. But definitely tape up the hair so you don't ruin all that hair work that you did. After this dries, I'm going to use Mr. Super Clear. Put a layer on. Every time you do a good layer, make sure you do Super Clear over it and let it dry. And that way you can just add more and more texture to the face by just doing layer after layer after layer, and it adds a lot of depth and texture, but this is just basic, super basic, #1 layer.
Now, one of the problems I've been having with dolls is how to stand them. I feel like when you have one of those doll stands, it is not pretty and it hinders, especially if it has wings or what have you. So I think I'm going to make a permanent stand for this series. That way I can just put it on the shelf. It's not going to fall over. It doesn't have like an ugly stand holding it. I'm going to camouflage a stand, more like a pedestal for this one. So with her dress, it's just a rudimentary I just took extra fabric and rudimentary sewed it. But what I'm going to do is since it's going to be on a stand and I know she's going to be permanent and you're not going to see the back of her, I'm going to hot glue it exactly where I want it. And that way I can kind of mold the dress, because she has a very flowy skirt, but I want it to be in a certain manner, and I want to show like her leg a little bit. I'm going to be putting moss on her and using different paints to, make different gradations on her arms and such. I also have this twine, and I'm kind of debating putting it around her waist, roping it around, and that way I can just hot glue it in the back, and I don't have to worry about tying all these teeny tiny knots and twine, which is difficult and annoying. So here we go. So now we have a very Grecian, Greek goddess look. I had done the twine. I might fix that up a little bit so it looks a little cuter, maybe more crisscrossy. This beautiful green dress, very flowy. I undid the bottom part. I wanted a little bit more flowy. It got a little too crunched up. Plus she'll be on a stand. And let's see how we do the arms.